What if one of the most American foods wasn't American at all? What if every bite of black-eyed peas carried a hidden story of survival, resistance, and stolen identity? For generations, people in the United States have eaten black-eyed peas for luck, especially on New Year's Day. But very few know the truth. This dish didn't begin in America. It came across the ocean, under brutal conditions, carried not in recipes but in memory. And the real story behind it? It's far deeper, and far more powerful, than you've ever been told. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're uncovering a hidden history, one that connects Africa to America through food, culture, and survival. This is the story of black-eyed peas, and how they became a symbol of both oppression and resilience in the United States. Because this isn't just about food, it's about people, identity, and a history that was nearly erased. Long before black-eyed peas became a Southern staple in the U.S., they were deeply rooted in West African life. For thousands of years, people across regions like modern-day Nigeria, Ghana, and Senegal cultivated and cooked these beans. They weren't just food, they were survival. Rich in protein, easy to grow, and adaptable to harsh climates, black-eyed peas were a cornerstone of daily meals. They were used in stews, mashed into fritters, and combined with rice in dishes that still exist today. Between the 16th and 19th centuries, millions of Africans were forcibly taken from their homes during the transatlantic slave trade, and while the people were stolen. So was their knowledge, their agricultural expertise, their cooking techniques, and their food traditions. Black-eyed peas made that journey too, sometimes packed onto slave ships as cheap food to feed the enslaved, and other times planted in the Americas because enslavers recognized how valuable African crops and farming knowledge were. But what many people don't realize is that it wasn't just the crop that survived, it was the culture. Enslaved Africans brought with them their understanding of how to grow, cook, and preserve black-eyed peas, recreating familiar dishes as best they could under brutal conditions. And one of those dishes eventually evolved into what we now know as Hoppin' John, a mix of black-eyed peas and rice that became a Southern classic. Yet even that dish has African roots, because in West Africa there are traditional meals combining rice and beans cooked together with spices and oils, showing clearly that what people now call Southern cuisine is deeply influenced, if not directly built, on African food traditions. For a long time, this connection was ignored, and black-eyed peas were often labeled as slave food, something cheap and low status. But that label hides the truth, because this wasn't just food for survival, it was a link to home, and during slavery maintaining cultural identity was an act of resistance. With food becoming one of the few ways enslaved people could hold onto their heritage, preserving flavors, techniques, and traditions passed down through generations, making black-eyed peas part of that resistance. After slavery ended, these traditions didn't disappear, they grew, and in the American South black-eyed peas became a symbol of resilience and hope. Eventually tied to New Year's Day traditions where they are eaten for good luck and prosperity. A meaning that may connect to African spiritual beliefs about abundance, or to the Civil War era when black-eyed peas helped people survive after crops were destroyed. But either way, the message remains clear. This food represents survival against the odds. Yet the uncomfortable truth is that while black-eyed peas became widely accepted as part of American culture, their African origins were rarely acknowledged, and the people who created and carried these traditions were often erased from the story. Reflecting a larger pattern where elements of African culture, food, music, language, were absorbed without proper recognition, making black-eyed peas just one example of a much bigger history. Today, that story is being reclaimed, as more people learn about the African roots of Southern cuisine and recognize the contributions of enslaved Africans not just as laborers, but as creators and cultural carriers. And black-eyed peas are no longer seen simply as a lucky food, but as a symbol of history, survival, and the enduring power of culture. So the next time you see a bowl of black-eyed peas, remember that you're not just looking at food, but at a story that crossed an ocean, survived unimaginable suffering, and continues to live on today, a story of people who lost everything, yet held on to something powerful enough to outlast generations. Raising one final question. How many other stories like this are still hidden in plain sight? If you want to uncover more hidden histories like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because there's always more beneath the surface, and we're just getting started.